My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and we're back.
Woo!
And it's Great British Bake Off season.
It is.
Well, it's, rerun.
It's like, they were very apt when they're going, Back to the Future in the opening, because, quite frankly, that's where we are.
That's exactly what we're doing. Now,
2018 in 2019.
Now, I will give you all a heads up at the start of this episode. If you hear a coughing and choking and a dying...
Look, I just feel like deep fried shit on a stick, okay?
Kristie is doing an amazing, bold job of getting up for the podcast. She's not been well.
It's been 48 hours of fevers and chills, and quite frankly, I'm over it.
She has indeed had chills that were multiplying.
And I'm losing control.
Yeah, she very much was. So... let's get into the episode, shall we?
Let's do that.
We need to start with the fact that you mentioned the Back to the Future opening.
Oh, it's brilliant. And they got a DeLorean.
I got a DeLorean. They went Back to the Future. I mean, granted, John DeLorean did defraud everyone in Ireland, so it's easy to get one. But still, be it as it may, as Kristie dies, they did a really good job of that. I mean, I thought Noel's hairstyle was probably the least ridiculous that Noel's hair was in the episode.
Look, it's... His new hairstyle is brave choice. Kind of like it. Everyone's like, oh, it's not so good. I'm like, it's kind of Ace Rimmery.
Yes, soak him a clipper. He'll be back for Christmas.
Exactly.
Exactly. No, we're going with exactly now.
Exactly.
And I did I know it divided Twitter, but I really liked the joke about going back and stopping Prue from tweeting all that.
That was awesome.
It was a good way to play up the fact that Prue gave away last year's winner before the grand final was on. And I like the Paul Hollywood, what are you doing,
2017?
Prue? Yes, what are you doing, Prue?
Yeah. See, this is what's going to get confusing, because we're going to be talking about last year's, but technically we're watching last year's.
Yeah, well, we've got to put ourselves... when we say last year's, we're talking about the previous season, because it was last year's when they recorded and showed it.
Yes.
Anyway, moving on with our lives. Let's go quickly through... who these people are, because we need to introduce you to these bakers.
Yes.
So we have Anthony, who is a banker.
And Bollywood enthusiast.
Bollywood enthusiast and banker. It always reminds me, whenever anyone says they're a banker, it reminds me of there's a great Monty Python joke where the guy comes up and introduces himself, I'm Mr. whatever his name is, and he goes, I'm a merchant banker, and he goes, oh, Mr., and he goes, I forget my name now, but I am a merchant banker. But Anthony's got the Bollywood thing going on as well. I like the idea that when he declines you for a home loan, he dances with you. That could be good. Bryony, who is a full-time parent and looks a bit like, for our British friends, a Blue Peter host. He plays school. Yes. So sort of the equivalency there with the bright colours and possibly a Noel doppelganger.
Yes.
We're
talking about Bryony, aren't we?
Yeah, I don't think that they would date. I think they're members of the same family.
I do love Bryony.
She's very cool.
She's very cool.
Dan, now he's a full-time parent as well.
Yes.
And he's very awesome.
And what I thought was hilarious is they've shown his little clip and they've gone and he bakes to, shower his children in deliciousness, and he serves them a fish. And I'm like, I think you may have either created a bake that looks exactly like a fish, or you're confused about what baking is.
Well, yeah, I know. It was a bit weird, wasn't it? And they said, he started baking to lavish his children. Yeah, it was pickled fish.
Was it a baked fish? Is it technically... because it was in the oven, therefore it's baked.
Actually, they were salted as well, so they were cured.
I'm looking forward to...
Cured.
I'm looking forward to Fish Week, though,
Look forward to his sandwich when he does a salmon... Anne-Marie, they're coming for you.
Yes.
Imelda. Now, we only got one... Now, I like her job title, which is Countryside Recreation Officer. She's in charge of fun.
And she likes to go for a good day out at County Mayo.
Into County Tyrone. She from County Tyrone, but she likes a lovely day out in County Mayo. We'll talk about that later. Always, the Northern Ireland accent always intrigues me because it's always a cross between Irish and American.
It is.
It goes American really easily. John's from Wales.
No. What gave you that impression? Let me guess, he's also a sailor.
Yeah, he is also a sailor, but they didn't actually tell you what his job was. You know what his job is?
What?
He's a blood courier.
Oh, that's awesome.
I like the idea that he does that via boat.
Yes. Up and down the canals.
He's the only guy ever delivering blood by boat. I mean, pirates used to take blood for that reason.
Pirates need blood too.
But they weren't
more so because they're losing limbs at an exceedingly fast rate.
They weren't delivering blood. They were more taking it, and not for.
I've lost another leg. Get me some of that O positive, will you?
Karen. Now, we're going to talk a lot about Karen. It's no, we don't need that Karen. We don't need that Karen.
No. She's a food sample person.
Well, okay, her official title is an in-store sampling assistant.
Okay.
What a job title that is.
She assists you to sample things.
Interestingly enough, though, and we'll get to this in the first bake, didn't assist other people when they needed help.
No.
Talk about that later.
Very good at assisting herself with some crisps, though.
Kim Joy.
Oh, she's a joy. And yes, she's a love joy.
Yes, she is. So Kim Joy is wonderful. Mental health specialist working with children. That's really cool as well.
Yeah.
Luke, civil servant and house and techno DJ.
He's everything which I shouldn't like about a person, but he's awesome.
Yeah, he that job description gives you the sort of idea that if you met them, you possibly wouldn't like them. Not because they're a bad person, but just...
I've got nothing in common.
DJ type, nothing really in common. You know, I'm not used to working at when the bass will drop.
No.
Only with the Lonely Island. But I like that combination of civil servant by day. So by day he puts up the buildings, and by night he tries to tear them down.
You know, he can't code himself for a noise violation. Maybe that's what he's done it for. Like, he was a DJ and he kept getting called on noise violations.
Builds the buildings thick.
So he's like, that's it, I'm going to infiltrate so that there's no issue.
And as a DJ from Sheffield, I'm assuming that he knows the illustriously wonderful Daz Sampson. Eurovision entry for Britain extraordinaire, old age DJ, that's what I call him. He was talking about the old school days. He must have been 45 in the shade, and what a Eurovision actor that was. England got 2 votes that year. Manon. Okay.
She's delightful.
I love Manon.
Of course.
She's spectacular.
Yes.
Except for one thing. We'll come to that. I'm not going to go there now. Manon is officially from London. Unofficially, she's French.
She is French. Oui.
They just oui. Look at your accents coming to the fore.
Bonjour,
Kristie,
Manon.
accent specialist.
Yeah.
This is all her Canadian bake-off work.
Yeah.
All of her work with the Quebec province is coming to fruition right now.
Precisely.
Rahul is a research scientist from Rotherham.
And a candidate for Dr. Pimple Popper today.
He was. You saw that. No, can I pop that? Can I pop that, please? Can I pop that? Ruby.
Ruby.
Do you?
Yeah, she's cool.
Know how to do mathematics? No. We'll come to that in the first break. And Terry.
Oh, I really like
I love
Terry.
That moustache.
Or him on the horse. Get along. Walk on. Walk on. And so it's just standing there. Walk on.
He's a retired air steward.
He's awesome.
Could you imagine him on an airliner?
Yeah, he was on the 1920s, like the Baron, what's it called? The Red Baron plane.
The Red Baron didn't have a steward.
How do you know?
Manfred von Richthofen is in the front fighting. Terry is in the back offering tea. With that moustache, maybe, actually. Okay. So Terry crosses a couple of historical figures tonight. The first one, if you put the right helmet on him, is Kaiser Wilhelm II. And when we get to his artwork later on, well, we'll talk about that when we get to it, because it's one of my favourite things I think I've ever seen in this show.
Comrade.
So let's get into the show. It's not Cake Week.
No.
What the fuck?
They decided to change it up, and it was a little disconcerting because I was expecting cakes. No, we got Biscuit Week.
Where's the sponge?
Where's the Genovese?
Where's the Genovese sponge? There should be a Genovese sponge.
Look, I don't mind it. I like a bit of change.
I don't really like Biscuit Week, so it's always good to get it out of the way.
I think it was a good Biscuit Week to a point.
Yeah, we'll come back to that in a minute. So let's talk about...
I mean, how many regional biscuits are there in England?
Yeah, let's talk about the regional biscuits. So they had to make regional biscuits.
Yes.
I thought it was interesting, by the way, that Manon didn't make anything French.
She wasn't allowed to. It had to be English.
That's ridiculous.
Regional.
It's ridiculous. She's from France.
Yeah.
They probably worked out.
He's from India.
Yeah, he could have made a regional biscuit.
He did. He made a regional biscuit with Indian flavourings, so she could make a regional biscuit with French.
Well, she sort of did because she put a mountain of cream in it, and that's kind of
like escargot or something, like just garlic and brie.
Garlic and brie biscuits.
Yeah.
What are these? They're garlic and brie pinwheels.
Well, they didn't need to be fucking. No, pinwheels aren't biscuits. They're pastries, aren't they? Anyway, I'm so sorry, everyone. I am like in struggle street at the moment.
She is in struggle street. Now, we had a bit of a discussion about what would be the Australian regional biscuit. So, got put
Vita
forward.
Wheats with Vegemite.
So, you put forward Vita Wheats with Vegemite. It's not a bad call. Austin and I put forward the Ice Vovo or the Tim Tam.
Yes.
Or do we have a fight with the Kiwis about the good old Anzac biscuit?
Oh.
I'm not prepared to fight over an Anzac biscuit. That's not really something I feel
they can
like
have it.
Not really something I think we should be fighting for.
The cornflake cookie.
The cornflake cookie, maybe. That's quite possible.
Barbecue shapes.
Oh, there we go. You found it. Love the taste of Australia in a biscuit. Barbecue shapes. Original flavour, not that crappy change flavour.
No.
Original only.
Back to the original.
We also had a few people give us some other suggestions as well.
Yep.
It depends on whereabouts you are, though, obviously, in the country. Because what we got here, I'm just trying to bring it up at the moment, unfortunately. There's a million tweets. Thank you, everybody.
Snowtown barrel biscuits?
No, there's no Snowtown barrel biscuits, thankfully. I'm so pleased. The one thing I don't want...
They got quite an acidic aftertaste.
They break down.
Is it the North Queensland racist biscuit?
Shinto with I _ burn toast. What a Twitter name!
White.
What a Twitter name! Yo-yos and or bush biscuits for South Australia.
Oh, nice.
That would make sense. I could see that coming through there.
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense to me. So what they decided to do, we'll go down the list. So Anthony decided to make turmeric and caraway. Turmeric and caraway gusnar cakes, which makes sense to me.
Gusnar cakes, totally a biscuit.
Yep. Bryony went with apple cider Empire biscuits. And I like the fact she went with Empire biscuits. And went, well, Ireland, Northern Ireland and Scotland, so outliers of the Empire close in, we're allowed to make these biscuits. Apple cider. Are we counting? We're going to count that as the booze and the bake, aren't we?
Yeah.
Good.
We
got 7 of 9.
Nice.
7 of 9.
Yeah.
The drinking game. Now, just quickly, we're going to run through it later at the end of the episode and tally it up. Mm-hmm. But if you were drinking along at home, 7 of 9, and if you were doing it every time one of them happened, for a couple of them, you'd be smashed by now.
Yeah. Hope you're holding up well, Gabby and Leah.
No, I really hope they're holding up quite well. So
Baroccas all around.
So you had... after that, you had Dan with lemon and strawberry Shrewsbury's. Mm-hmm. It was an interesting... The lemon and strawberry, that's very British.
Indeed.
It's incredibly British
Just need to be served with some Pims.
Imelda, well, you think everything should be served with Pims, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, you know.
Imelda...
Breakfast.
Breakfast should be served with Pims. Not with Coca-Cola, though. That's stupid commercial. Like, for anyone watching...
my God!
All right, for anyone watching on Foxtel, and obviously you're watching on Foxtel because we all believe in supporting product, thank you. For anyone watching along on Foxtel, there was a Coca-Cola ad that just drove us insane every time it appeared.
It's like, mash up some fruit, add it to the Coca-Cola. Like, do it your way. It's
a fruit juice, put Coke in it. Like, you've destroyed a drink. No. 2 drinks. No. You know what makes this orange juice better?
What?
More acid. Coca-Cola.
I was going to take these perfectly good strawberries and ruin them with Coca-Cola.
I'm going to break them down because I know what Coca-Cola does to concrete. Let's put a strawberry in there. Imelda made cherry and white chocolate oatmeal biscuits. And when she went to present them, and they're like, what's going on? I'm a bit worried about these. They looked, I'm not going to lie, to me, because she dunked half of them, it looked like she dropped them on the carpet. And, like, the bit that hit the carpet and all the fluff on it, and she picked them up, and it just...
Got a few cats there at home.
Yeah, one bit was a bit fuzzy and the other bit was a bit smooth. By the way, if this is the first time you've ever listened to us, good luck. But more importantly... Happy felching. And more importantly, the first episodes are always a little bit more quick-run procedural because there's so many bloody people to get through.
Yeah.
It eases in as we go through. So don't think, well, they're running through really fast because there's a lot to get in. Now, John, did you know that John is from Wales?
Well, that's an interesting fact, and I don't think we actually got to pick that up on the show tonight.
He only mentioned it 7 or 8 times.
Oh, is that all? Because I completely missed it.
And then underbaked his biscuits, so it was like the Welsh people, pale.
Pale and pasty.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce what they were, but they were creams. Karen made Yorkshire Perkins. I wonder if that was an homage to Sue Perkins. We can only hope so. Yeah, Karen was interesting. She snapped a few times at people when Paul didn't particularly like the texture of her biscuit. She's like, right, well, I'll remember that for later.
She didn't come across well.
It didn't. I'm obviously editing and stuff like that, so we're not saying that she's a horrible person.
But what really stuck in my craw was the crisps, pulling out the little lunchbox of crisps.
Yeah.
And there's Terry struggling to get his chocolate off. It sounds terrible. And he's right there. And she's offering people crisps.
As our great friend Beck Pobji asked, what sort of person carries around a little lunchbox with crisps?
Look, I understand if you suffer from low blood sugar and stuff, that's cool. But you are in a baking tent, there's lots of sugar to be had.
Yeah.
But it's not a good look.
No, it doesn't look good.
And we know that in the tent, the pavilion, the shed, one of the beautiful things is the spirit of camaraderie and the willingness to assist and get the best out of each other. So
it wasn't really in the spirit.
No.
Not really in the spirit.
And so that just made me disappointed there, Karen.
Also, they looked rather disappointing crisps. So,
yeah.
Now, Kim Joy, keeping up to the theme of making something bright and bubbly, which is very Kim Joy, Orange Blossom York biscuits.
Inspired by her conditioner, which I just think is beautiful. She's washing her hair and she's like, this smells great. What's in it?
Orange Blossom.
I can cook with that.
I like the idea that she actually just brought in the bottle and was like, one for hair, one for bake. One for hair, one for bake.
Afterwards, Paul's there going, my hair feels lustrous.
Look, the biscuits aren't really giving me the flavour that I wanted. But if I crumble them in my hair, it's so much volume.
Like it works for Noel.
Luke made Yorkshire ginger nuts, not a redhead to be seen.
I'm a big fan of ginger nuts.
Moving on. Manon made hazelnut Cornish shortbread.
She did.
She did indeed.
And they looked amazing, and they were crisp, and they had the chocolate hazelnut on the outside. I'm with Paul. Great choice there, Manon.
It was a good call. Rahul. Now, Rahul, the explanation of Rahul's bake, as was pointed out beautifully by Sandy, took up almost the whole episode.
Yeah, and I just want to say to Rahul, own your chubby face. There's nothing wrong with this. You don't need to cover it up with stubble. I mean, if you feel that that's what you'd prefer, that's fine, but just love your body. It's the only body you've got in this life, so just own it and don't be shamed by it. Just fucking rock the chubby face, dude.
Anyway, he made fennel and coconut Pitcali bannock, sorry. Sure, indeed he did. And when asked for the explanation, he gave a very in-depth conversation that indicates he's a scientist. To which Sandy just looked and went, well, that's the episode.
No, Bannocks just remind me of Outlander. So every time they were talking about Bannocks, I just imagine Jamie and Claire, and then Jamie's like, ooh, Claire, I want some of your hot Bannocks there, and just...
And then you forgot...
Fever dream.
And then you forgot to watch the episode.
Yes.
All right, Ruby made masala chai Devon Flats.
Poor Devon.
Yeah, I know. Now, the problem for poor Ruby when she made these was she can't count.
Look, at least she counted over and not under.
Well, she made 25, and when they said to her, why did you make 25? She goes, I'm bad at maths. And that seemed to show, by the way, when they judged her biscuit, which they said were dry, but maybe the quantities were out? Because she's bad at maths and can't count. Terry made the Lake District ginger shortbread, which sounds like something you would buy in the information centre of the Lake District.
I just like to
Got a map of the Lake District on the back of it.
Yes.
Various lakes.
I mean, the Lake District just reminds me of Pride and Prejudice, really. And poor Elizabeth just not being able to go to the Lake District. Anyway.
Now, Terry was...
I told you I'm off the planet.
You are. Now, Terry...
I'll just wander around.
Terry decided that he was going to do a print of his sheep.
I'm just disappointed he didn't do chocolate orange. Because he could have been Terry's chocolate orange.
It wasn't Terry's. It's mine.
Dawn French just pops out from underneath.
It's not Terry's. It's mine.
Yeah, they were an interesting choice, bold choice. He's an artist. I don't think the medium he works in is chocolate frequently. I think it might be paint.
It looked a lot more like Pikachu.
I did see where he was going with it, though. Like, I thought...
And when they did the judging, Paul started off with, right, okay, that's interesting. Noel tried to defend it by calling it a Warhol print, which was a good attempt, Noel, and then Prue just called them a bit hard, to which Hollywood responded with, that's a rough old biscuit, that one. Which is, funnily enough, my nickname.
Don't make me laugh. I'm going to cough my lungs up.
You will, actually. There we go. Now, Rahul, they were worried about how strong the fennel was going to be. And he's like, well, it's okay. I'm not breaking the fennel up, so it won't be that bad. And they tasted it and went, the fennel's under. You can't taste any of it. Well missed. How the hell do you go from I'm worried about the fennel to what fennel? There was fennel. Mannon's was just good. Yeah. Luke, they said, looked great. The lime flavour wasn't strong, but the ginger was good. Kim Joy's, I believe Prue used words like exquisite and mouth-watering. Mm-hmm. Then she sampled the biscuit. Oh! Karen, as we said, they liked her piping but didn't like the texture of the biscuit. John, as we also said, was pale like the Welsh. Also, for those people at home that don't like wet, sloppy sounds...
Oh, that was so wrong.
The period of about 7 seconds of John just mixing his cake batter, and it wasn't so much mixing as like just...
It was biscuit fapping, really.
It really was biscuit fapping. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. We've had put people through it once. When they told Dan that his lemon and strawberry Shrewsbury's were pale and tough, he seemed overwhelmingly surprised. Really? This jumped for a mile. They said that Bryony's were the shortbread melted in the mouth. The apple bitterness was really nice too. And they said that Anthony's had a punch with great colour and great flavour. So that brings us to the technical.
Eat the wagon wheel.
The wagon wheel. Eat the wagon wheel.
Better than a stuffed iguana.
Better than a stuffed iguana.
Better than escargot.
So, I like the fact they did wagon wheels.
Me too.
You've been calling for it for a while. You actually have. If you go back through the podcast, I'm sure there is a podcast where you actually asked in Biscuit Week for wagon wheels. So, they've listened.
You're welcome.
So...
Next time, iced Vovos. I was about to call them iced vulvas.
Don't do that.
Everyone.
Yeah, don't quite
That's a
do
whole
that.
different kind of biscuit.
It is. So, the wagon wheel challenge was interesting because there were a few people that really nailed it and there were a few people that had no idea what they were doing. I'm looking at you, Anthony. From moment one, when he was trying to make the marshmallow, Anthony just had no idea. His marshmallow wasn't working, the biscuits weren't working, he couldn't make the chocolate do it properly, he couldn't cover it in the chocolate properly. Not a single thing went right. And I believe when they did the judging, they said that doesn't really count as a wagon wheel.
No, I'm surprised there was a plate involved. Like, I just...
Well, we all...
Like, just suddenly this, like, brick comes out. And that's what the biscuits went on to.
That was funny. when you go through and with like the rest of them, Bryony knew what she was doing, and that was really impressive.
Yeah.
There were a couple of people. Manon was amazing. Manon has never seen a wheelie wagon, as she put it.
What is this? Wheelie wagons.
Yeah, I've never seen a, what you call it, wheelie wagon. But she nailed it. Like, It was absolutely perfect. So what that demonstrates is that Manon reads a recipe and goes, yeah, I know how to do that. Not a problem in the world. Imelda's was so... The chocolate was so heavy that, as Prue Leith put it, these haven't set properly as well when she's put them down. If we'd left these any longer, they'd be glued to the plate.
I'd still fucking eat them.
I know you would, but...
I'm all about marshmallow and chocolate combinations.
You are about marshmallow and chocolate combinations. Kim Joyce had too much marshmallow.
I like I just spread it on the outside. And they're like, and that's why you coat it completely in chocolate. I'm like, yeah, but Kim Joy's just going for whimsy.
Yeah.
She saw Jude. She knows what to do.
Rahul didn't... Rahul didn't seal them either. There were a few of them that like did the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
And just didn't remember to seal.
You have to seal your wagon wheels,
always.
Otherwise...
Poor Terry had another bad one. It's set, but the marshmallow was rubbery.
Yeah.
That didn't go very well. Ruby somehow amazingly managed to do it perfectly. I still can't work it out.
I just think she's a wagon wheel connoisseur.
She must be. It's got to be the skill. So, one of the moments was where Terry was standing next to Sandy, and Sandy's gone, "You're like a giant amongst men to me." Now, we also had, when they pulled the biscuits out, and they were all pale, which they're supposed to be. They're slightly tanned. When she's pulled the biscuits out of the oven,
yes,
Imelda. Now, you all get your baking trays, and everyone knows you do the big wave over the top, and that cools them. Imelda has obviously seen this principle before.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure if she's ever enacted it.
She was a little indifferent in her waving.
It was sort of like a push out of the air, and then a think, and a slow, vague wave in, and then I'll look to the side, like, is that what I'm... Yeah, sure, whatever. I couldn't really tell if she was trying to signal to someone on the other side of the shed. It might have been what she was going for instead. Who was being signalled to very strongly, however, was Manon.
Yes.
By a Mr. Noel Fielding.
Oh my.
Oh my. Noel was very, very...
attentive.
Oh, wasn't he indeed. Noel was very much on board.
You mean Katie Lang?
Yeah, Katie Lang was very much on board. I mean, Ed Cavalier.
She was constant craving.
Constant cravings. So in the final rundown of the showstopper, bear with me, people, because it's a long one. Anthony was 12th, and again, barely counted. Imelda was 11th.
Yes.
Imelda
was 11th.
Kim Joy was 10th because there was too much marshmallow oozing out the side. Terry was 9th. Luke was 8th. Rahul was 7th.
Rahul.
Karen was 6th. John was 5th. Dan 4th. Manon 3rd. Bryony 2nd. And amazingly, from last to first, Ruby. She's like, it's about time. I was wondering if I could actually manage to cook. So that was really good. Now, before we get on to the final part of this, before we get on to the showstopper, do you know?
No.
We got a sponsor.
That's right, and it's a real one this time. No shonky sponsors.
What they really could have done with, you know what they could have done with?
What?
They could have done with some Sugarcraft.
Australian Sugarcraft.
Australian Sugarcraft, you say?
I know.
If only there was a digital magazine that you could access that could help you out with digital sugar.
I believe we have a celebrity spokesperson.
Is it me? Oh my God, she's here. I didn't think she was coming. Oh my God. Your Majesty, this is a wonderful...
Hello. When we are not running after corgis or changing the diapers of my new grandchildren, great-grandchildren, Jesus, getting old, I'm reading Australian Sugarcraft magazine. It's a delightful online platform that you can read. And what does it say here, child? Oh, you just need to go to facebook.com/Wagon Australian Sugarcraft. I like to see that the colonies are doing well.
Oh, thank you, Your Majesty.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Oh
my God, Kristie will be so disappointed she's missed that.
Oh, just back from the bathroom.
Oh, good to see you.
I saw some corgis running through.
Her Madge.
Again?
Yeah, you always miss that.
Miss her.
You always miss that.
Yes.
So, you know, I mean, if you want to go and check it out, we're not going to force you to. I mean, we'd like to.
Facebook.com/Australian Sugarcraft.
We'd like to force you to do it, but unfortunately that's illegal. Subscription is an annual cost of $19.90 Australian, and it's 2 issues per year. And it's very much worth it. And for some of these bakers, it could very much have been worth it. When they got to the final challenge, which was, of course, and I say of course, like a 3D biscuit self-portrait is a normal thing.
Well, when I'm like trying to work out my best angle for my Facebook profile, I'm always doing it in biscuit form first.
When you're living your best life.
When I'm living my best life, when I'm YOLOing.
Yeah, so Anthony, we'll start with Anthony. Now, Anthony's was obviously inspired by the very recent tour of Toto to the country of Australia. Because he was rising, as Kilimanjaro rises like Olympus above the Serengeti. By the way, it doesn't. But more importantly, he's been to Kilimanjaro and climbed it.
I know. I was waiting for this to be like his Tinder kind of profile.
Bingo. Right, so the greatest game in the history of mankind, as Kristie dies slowly, is Tinder Bingo.
It is.
And what you are looking for to win Tinder Bingo...
Machu Picchu.
So, a photo of the individual with Machu Picchu in the background. What Anthony is doing here is clearly a biscuit version. Like, he said Kilimanjaro. It did look a little bit like a revolutionary poster for Al-Qaeda, can I just say? Because if you've ever seen those, they're very badly drawn, they're crudely done, and the colour scheme's always wrong. So it didn't look like he was climbing Kilimanjaro. It looked like it needed an electioneering slogan under the bottom of it. And there's a couple of people on Twitter asked, why are there bakers out there doing healthy things like climbing mountains?
I know.
Fuck off. Go eat some sugar.
Shouldn't you?
We don't watch this show for adventure sports. We watch it to sit there and watch you eat something loaded with sugar.
Although I am really interested in the amount of different weight loss things that were like being advertised during Bake Off.
It is fascinating, isn't it? And then Coca-Cola.
It's like
right through the middle of it.
You make no sense.
Now, Ruby with her bake, and poor Ruby, her gingerbread marathon selfie, and again, fitness, kind of went a bit bad when she dropped it. But Ruby admitted to everybody, I've never finished this on time. And then she paused and went, in fact, I've never finished it. That's what you want to do for the first episode of British Bake Off. Like, if I'm on the first episode of British Bake Off, what I really want to be doing is something I've never successfully completed before.
Look, I love a chutzpah. I like it that she's just like, yeah, fuck it. This is what I want to do. I'm not going to modify it. Let's just go for it.
So Karen...
This is me in a biscuit selfie portrait.
Now Karen went with a holiday selfie because she has a holiday house in France. I wonder if we've seen Karen on Escape to the Country. She's one of these people going around with Phil and Kirsty and trying to buy a place in that's a place in the sun, but same thing.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, they're off trying to buy a place in France for like 15 bob. Yeah. I want something with water views and a province.
And then there's just going to be a dodgy farmer who's trying to sell it, and you find out that he's actually not the owner of the property.
It's like the episode of Bart in France, where he ends up shredding the grapes at the vineyard. It was rosewater and cardamom, so they're flavours that always scream joy in Bake Off.
Yes.
Now the rosewater, she was terrified about the rosewater because Paul Hollywood's there like, you know what happens with rosewater, and Prue's like, you know what happens with cardamom. She's like, oh, no, I'll be good. No, it worked, definitely. And then she admitted later on, I got scared. And she did.
Well, wouldn't you? You've got Prue and Paul looking at you like you're about to fucking poison them with rosewater and cardamom.
I wouldn't have been dumb enough to use rosewater. I've watched too many series of this show. Right? Don't use rosewater. It goes badly.
Yeah, use matcha instead.
Shut up. Speaking of using matcha instead, right, at this point, I'm watching along happily going, oh, Madeline is wonderful, isn't she? Oh, Madeline is such a good baker, isn't she great? And then she holds up matcha. And then for the next 5 minutes proceeds to say nothing but matcha.
However, you did enjoy some yuzu recently.
I told you I don't actually mind yuzu. I hate the fact it's overdone.
Well,
Matcha I can't stand. Matcha is just when you use it in a bake, just makes the bake look like you're eating that green foam at the bottom of a fish tank. We've been through this.
okay,
Right,
all right.
yuzu I can stomach. I just think it's overdone. Matcha I think makes everything look like green foam.
But you like melons, so that's all right.
Well, I struggled with this one. I just pretended it was white chocolate ganache and there was no matcha in there at all. And they said the matcha was very subtle. So it's almost like she didn't need to use it. So then don't. By the way, thank you everybody on Twitter. I really appreciate all the ats when matcha comes up. And the drinking game, as Kristie Texas Wig, the drinking game was, like that was the one we were waiting for on the drinking game, and by God, didn't everyone drink.
Absolutely.
So Mannon's was really good. We'll come back down to that in a minute. Luke made What Happens in Vegas. Now, I'm trying to work out if it was Luke or if it was Kim Jong-un, because it looked very Supreme Leader.
I really like Luke. I just think he's a lovable dude.
He's a lovable dude.
And I'm just wondering if he had different coloured hair when he was in Vegas, because it was very tawny and he's got very black hair. So I just wonder if it was his bleach tip stage or something.
Yeah, they all go through that. Kim Joy had the Me at Miyajima Shrine, which was really good, another Japanese one. Now, John sailing away, free to face the life.
Did you know he's Welsh?
Really?
Yes.
Did he ever mention that?
I don't think so.
Interestingly enough, he's Welsh, but he wasn't the one who did the sheep. Interesting. A sailing selfie by the sea.
A tasty sailing selfie by the sea.
Yeah, we'll come back to that in a minute. So,
delivering blood to the pirates.
Imelda called hers a seaside selfie, but I didn't really see much evidence of the seaside.
Look, it was just a fun day out in Mayo. And
yeah, it was a fun day out in Mayo, and it sounded very, rather than County Mayo, it sounded more like she just maybe goes out into the countryside and sets up a slip and slide. And then just Mayo down the slip and slide, and then off we go. Come on, kids.
Yes.
Into the slip and slide we go.
Look, there's really not a lot to do in County Mayo. It's just
very, very small. But the seaside selfie, it didn't really look like the seaside. It was very bland. It was very nondescript. And we'll come back.
Have you ever been to Ireland?
No.
I
very
love
bland.
Ireland's gorgeous. It's just very green. Like, you know how the Inuit...
It's all so fucking green.
Yeah. You know how the Inuit have 1,000 words for snow? There needs to be 1,000 Irish words for green.
There should be. Bryony made a Bristol biscuit selfie, and at that point I was very happy that the two Ronnies are no longer with us, because Bristol's, as I informed you this evening, in British comedy, Bristol's was their code word for breasts.
Well, speaking of Bristol's...
Oh, God.
No, the thing that really got me today, I love Bryony, but she said that her dog breed is a cockapoo. And I'm like, no, there's no such thing. Apparently there is. And then Noel's like, well, I'll go and be a cockapoo. And I'm like, essentially you're going to be a dick shit. Like,
Noel is a dick shit. You heard it here first. Noel is a dick shit. Rahul's was a bit like first spring in the UK.
I liked it. I thought it was pretty, and I liked the colours in it.
Oh, the
like
colours
the little
were pretty.
swan.
Look, at this point we've got a bit...
I liked his chubby face.
At this point we've got
Rock
a bit...
the fucking chubby face, Rahul. Rocket.
At this point we've got a bit abstract. We've got a bit Bob Ross.
Little happy cheese.
Yeah, and Ruby really needed Bob Ross at this point in time when she dropped it. Because as Bob Ross always says, no, we don't make mistakes. We just have happy accidents. And Ruby had a happy accident which made it an abstract.
Yes.
And
it was more of a Picasso.
It was very Picasso. Like the nose was here and the top of the head was over there. Yeah, forget the marathon finishing course. You know, it was all about where the head ended up.
Now, I like who went full Bob Ross, and that was Kim Joy with her palette knife and the different colours on it.
Kim Joy had the palette knife and did the smear. Manon did something similar as well. And then I've saved two. We're going to go to Terry.
Comrade Terry.
So, there's a couple of things with this. First of all, Terry amazingly goes with a brandy snap. And everyone's going, oh shit, we know how this ends. Brandy snaps usually go very badly. He made this brandy snap and then did a proper 3D impressionist painting of himself. But it wasn't quite himself.
No, you please, you go on, because this is your baby.
So Terry, or as he appeared in the image, Comrade Lennon, was apparently... I'm trying to work out what he thought he was doing, because the answer is seizing the means of production. And he didn't have the curly part of the moustache. It was a very flat moustache, and the beard, it looked exactly like Lennon. And the colour palette was so communist.
But you know, if this bake-off thing doesn't work out well for him, he's got a strong future ahead of him in death mask brandy snaps.
Yeah, it was
because there's nothing like going to someone's wake when you can have edible death masks. There's
an industry. Devon.
Yes, Devon. You could just make yourself the gravestone,
edible gravestones as well.
Edible gravestone, and then an edible face mask, death mask. It's I loved Nana. She's so delicious.
So Terry, or Comrade Lennon as he became known, did this amazing impressionist painting of himself. It was artistically though, it was genuinely a brilliant painting.
Yeah,
it looked like a watercolor.
He's a good painter.
No, we're not going to do it because I'll make you laugh too much and that'll happen. However, I'm not going to be able to stop you from laughing too much longer because we have to go to the last one, which was Dan. Now, you're already laughing. Now, Dan, the story was wonderful.
Oh, it's beautiful. He's like, me and my husband, we found a surrogate in Palm Springs in the USA, and, this is a time when we got to know our children over there.
I saw the sketch, and I said to you when I saw the sketch, it looks really cool, but if he's not careful, that child's going to look like a football. If only the child had looked like a football. Now, our friend Gabby had insisted on Twitter that she thought it might look like a pink maggot. However, Brandon knows exactly what's up, legitimately.
Penis.
With British Bake Off. He said, that's one hell of a penis.
Big cock-a-doodle-doo.
It looked like Dan was not so much holding his young child as his penis.
It was
and he looked happy. He looked very happy and contented.
Well, look, if your penis is that big and pink,
and if you're holding it in the middle of Palm Springs, and you're just, it's out there. You've got to be pretty proud. And it was great when he went up there to get it judged. Everyone just laughed straight up. They're like, we all know what that looks like. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Because I like Kim Joyce. She looks at it, she goes, "What are you holding?"
Yeah, what are you holding? Like, baby. And she's like, it's not what it looks like. All right, so Dan, they said the flavours were really good with Dan's.
Yes.
Kim Joy, the colours are good. The biscuit needed more spice, unfortunately. Luke, or Kim Jong-un, the flavours were good, but they did say that it was underbaked.
No, he's Kim Jong-un's. Sorry.
All right, from here on in, his name is Kim Jong-un's. Okay, Anthony, they said the biscuit flavour was good. John, they said the curd kind of went wrong, but the flavours were good, and as was the biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
Rahul, now this was really good because Paul Hollywood looked and pointed at him and pointed at things and said, "Where's the stubble?" And Rahul very quickly went, "I shaved that time." So the flavour was great and the biscuit was really well baked. Karen, or as they sort of said, Dame Edna, they couldn't taste the rose water. Now again, Karen, if there's a lesson you learned out of this episode, this is why we don't use rose water.
Yeah.
There is a reason. That is it. Imelda's design was simple. Now, Prue turns around to Paul and goes, "You can't eat her." I wonder if that's a phrase that Paul's heard a lot.
And then with the relish of Maggie Beard,
He cuts her in half. But then Prue tasted it, and Prue's comment, and I loved this, so I'm gonna. This is exactly as Prue did it. Prue turns around after eating the biscuit and goes, "The biscuit is a bit bland and thick and dry." Like, it was the pause. Because Prue tasted it, and one of those is bad. But Prue felt the need to really stress the others.
It's like, I feel sorry for Imelda. Like, no, like...
Imelda wasn't really in the running to go home. Like, she wasn't brilliant in the technical.
No.
But she wasn't horrific in the first one.
No.
She was sort of like, it was, Terry was going.
And then he saved himself.
With that idea, which they loved the idea, they loved the biscuit, they loved the flavour.
Yeah.
Manon balanced her one quite well. The flavour was really good.
And that's what made her Star Baker over Bryony.
Yes, Bryony, they said they really liked that too.
The flavour wasn't there, though.
But the flavour was slightly out. Ruby instantly admitted that it was too ambitious, and Prue turns around and goes, and as you can see by the fact that you didn't get a chance to finish yourself, Ruby, always finish yourself.
Just make time, love. Just make time for yourself.
Make time for yourself. So Manon Starbaker and Imelda going home.
Yeah.
It's a bit sad. It's always a bit sad when you see the person go home in the first episode, as we frequently suggest.
Yeah.
You need to have a fake.
Look, I'd like to think Bryony was just part of the production crew, not Bryony. Imelda was part of the production crew.
You'd like to think so. All right, so a couple of things before we sign off today, because we're about to sign off. First of all, if you didn't catch it over the weekend, we had a great chat with Devon from the Great Canadian Baking Show.
Indeed.
Go and check that out. If you missed all of our series of Great Canadian Bake Off because you haven't seen it, why would you? It hasn't been on TV out here. The Ether can provide that. Do go watch that. We highly recommend it. Mm-hmm. Also, we did an end-of-year wrap in Perth with one Mr. Robert Harwood.
Oh, yes, we did.
That was wonderful. That was good fun. We wrapped up Canadian Bake Off, British Bake Off, Australian Bake Off, and MasterChef.
We did.
So we covered the entire gamut of everything we've done this year. Last year. So we've done. It's early. First month. You get a first month pass.
It's like a free trial this month.
If you don't like it, you get to give it back. Now, a few other things just quickly before we say goodbye to you for this episode. The drinking game. Right? Yes. Some of you found it, some of you didn't. It'll be up every episode. Before every episode, there will be different things on there every week. Feel free to share that around. Include us.
Make suggestions.
Tag us in it. If you've got suggestions that you want to see, send them through to us. I'm always happy to use those. I'll put it up on the Facebook and the Twitter and the Instagram. So it'll be across all of our social media platforms. Mm-hmm. Play along at home. Possibly not with a lot of booze, because you will be drunk on a lot of these.
You can do cheesels, as suggested by the lovely Mel Bottle.
Yes, Mel Bottle once did suggest cheesels, and that was a much better and possibly realistic idea. So that's something to be considered as well. So the drinking game is out there. The last thing is, for the live tweeting, there are 2 hashtags. One of them is the normal GBBO.
Yes.
So that's just the normal Great British Bake Off. That's so everyone can find what we're doing. However, with a lot of the live tweeting group, especially, people are avoiding spoilers. And unfortunately, as has been pointed out by many people, and we've mentioned it before, this went to air in Britain months ago.
Yep.
If you put in hashtag GBBO and go searching, you will probably bump into a spoiler. Mm-hmm. So, as we did last year, hashtag GBBO AU is for live tweeting. Use both. That way people who are just following normally can see the tweets, and maybe they get the habit and they join in as well. Yep. And it becomes a really good community. But also for those of us live tweeting, we can keep up to date with what we're doing there.
Yeah.
If you've got any feedback or any suggestions, please feel free to let us know.
Yes.
This works really well with our interactions with you, and we really love it. We love the feedback that we get. We love hearing from people out there.
Absolutely. And we just want to thank again our sponsor.
We do want to thank our sponsor, Australian Sugarcraft Magazine.
Yes, so don't forget.
So Facebook.com/Australian Sugarcraft. And again, only $19.90 for an annual subscription. That is 2 issues per year. It is colour, it is digital.
It's read by the Queen.
It is read by the Queen, cake decorating and sugar art. So there's a mountain of stuff in that. Go and check that out as well. Mm-hmm. That's your lot for this episode. Until next time, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still sweating balls.
You are indeed. And we'll catch you all later.
Ciao!